Radio Recyclerie, un espace sonore où vibrent les écologies.
I just like children and I love writing for them. And actually, I wrote over 100 books for adults, and I can assure you, it's a lot more difficult to write a children's book than an adult book, I think. I'm not talking about literature, but children, they're not, if they don't like it, they will tell you. And they seem to like it. When I talk to them, they always say they like my books very much. So I just believe them.
Hello Mathilda.
Hello, Julien.
Welcome to Radio Recyclerie and congratulations on being shortlisted for the Prix du Livre Environnement 2025 in the children's category. Since 2006, the Veolia Foundation has been awarding the Prix du Livre Environnement to support and promote writers and publishers who contribute to raising public awareness of the planet's major issues, which a simple and powerful idea. Reading is a strong tool to educate people and give these new concepts the place that they deserve. What powers do you give to reading, Mathilda?
Well, reading, to me, is like eating and drinking. I cannot imagine a day without reading. And that's always what I tell when I give presentations to children. I always tell them that reading is one of the most important skills you can acquire in life. First of all, reading makes you smarter. And not only because of what you read, but also because it allows you to make sense of abstract symbols. Because that is what letters are, after all. You put these little symbols in a row, and then suddenly they make a story. So reading and writing are the two things that make us so unique. Most animals communicate, but not as intensely and in such a specific way as humans do. And on top of that, reading is just incredibly nice. For me, it is one of the most pleasurable things that exist. I can spend hours and hours lost in a book. For me, books open new worlds. They make me dream. They teach me things. They stimulate my imagination. They calm me down when I'm anxious. And reading, you can do it anywhere, anytime. I always have at least one fiction and one non-fiction book on my nightstand. And I simply cannot sleep without having read a few pages. So it's like breathing, actually, maybe even more. Like, yes.
So I guess my next question is going to be really difficult for you, but I wanted to know if there is one or, well, several books that really left a deep mark on your life.
I find it difficult to choose just one book that changed my life.
I know. I'm so sorry about this question.
No, but because there's always another book that takes on more significance at a given moment. For instance, I discovered the books by Lucy Cook. She's a British biologist, and she describes the animal world in such an amazing and humorous way. You just keep reading. It's like laughing out loud with her. Or I discovered the novels by Barbara Kingsolver, who's an American writer, and she won the Pulitzer Prize with Demon Copperhead. And I simply devoured all of her books the last couple of months. But if you want to know the one book that made a lifelong impression on me, it must be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, written by Roald Dahl. Yes, I read it as a child, and I think I must have read it over 100 times by now, at least. And that was the book that made me decide that I wanted to become an author of children's books myself. I adore Dahl's stories and the way he shapes a whole world that seems real, or even though it can be real. I find what he writes, that's true craftsmanship. So yes, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay. This is funny because actually I have to tell you that my second son is named Charlie because well, actually, yeah, this book also made a strong impression in my life. And when he was born, I bought the pop-up book about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and well, he's 2 years old now, so he's bit young to handle the book, which is actually really beautiful, a huge book with all those pop-up images that are actually really becoming alive when you turn the pages. But I'm really well, actually I can't wait for us to read the book together. So thank you so much for your intro. Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
it's really
amazing,
amazing.
isn't it? Because it was written in 1968. So I was about 5 then. So now you know how old I am. And still, when I talk to children and I tell them about this book, they all still know the title. Often they've only seen the movie or the musical, but they still know the title. And then I tell them, but please read the book, because the book will give you more, even more than the film. And it's so amazing that a book from 1968 still can make such a huge impression
True.
on children.
Well, you're talking about reading, and you told us that reading was really powerful and important for you, but you didn't just stop reading, you also started writing. I wanted to know because I talked about your book, and I actually introduced your book in French because I didn't find any English translation for this book, but I also saw on the internet that you wrote a lot of books. When did you say, okay, actually I can write books too? When did you, I don't know, is it a leap of faith? Is it courage? Is it just because you had no choice? Can you please tell me about that?
It's all of that: leaps of faith, courage. I don't know, there is this expression, let me think, um, between word and deed are, um, how do you say that? I know it in Flemish, but I don't know how to say it in English. Just let me think.
Well, if you
Uh,
say it in Flemish, you will lose me. I'm sorry.
uh, there are a lot of practical issues between word and deed. I think that's how you would translate the thing, and especially financial issues. I mean, becoming an author, it took a while. Of course, I loved writing already as a child. I had pen pals all over the world. I wrote letters in French, in German, in English, even um, if there were a lot of mistakes in them, it didn't matter. Um, I wrote stories. I actually once sent a story to a children's magazine and it was published. But then I always wanted to become a writer. And in my late 30s, when my daughter was about 4, I wrote a children's book. It was called The TV Mom, and it was quite successful, but I couldn't see myself giving up a well paid job just to pursue an uncertain career as a writer. Um, yeah, and I worked for a long time as a journalist. And then at a press conference for a cookbook, a publisher asked me if I wanted to write a cookbook for a chef as a ghostwriter. So I accepted, but I kept my full time job. And then they were so pleased with what I did that they asked me a second time. And the second time I thought, okay, let's just do it. And I quit my job and I started writing as a ghostwriter in all kinds of, especially lifestyle books, cookbooks, handicraft, books about sports, everything. I also wrote a series of thrillers for adults, but then something was still itching. I wanted to follow my childhood dream. So at a certain moment, I just took a leap of faith, as you called it, and I started writing children's books. I have written 6 fiction stories for children and about 15 books non-fiction for children. And I've never regretted my decision to become a full-time writer for children. It has opened worlds for me. It's still amazing to be able to do this every day.
Why children, Mathilda?
Why children? Why children? Well, first of all, I genuinely like children. I have a very good, I can still imagine the time when I was a child, actually. I'm not very big. I'm only 160. And I think I don't look young, but I don't look very threatening as an adult. And I love talking to children. My main age is between 6 and 12. They still have this wonder, this curiosity, and they ask the funniest questions. They find my humor is okay. They find my jokes are okay. Not like my children who are adult now and who don't always think I'm so funny. But I just like children and I love writing for them. And actually, I wrote over 100 books for adults. And I can assure you, it's a lot more difficult to write a children's book than an adult book, I think. I'm not talking about literature. But children, they're not, if they don't like it, they will tell you. So, yeah. And they seem to like it. When I talk to them, they always say they like my books very much. So I just believe them.
Well, actually, yeah, well, you said you wrote more than 100 books. That's it, right? It's amazing. And
Yes.
I only wrote maybe 7 or 8 books, and the last one was for children because I wanted to read stories to my kids that actually was funny to me and with also important concepts. And I guess I share like the writing books for children looks easier, but it's much more complicated. But I realized that it's not the question of children or adults. The books that I write are actually only for my family. I'm happy that other people are reading them, but I just want my family to understand better what I'm thinking, what I'm believing, and I want to. It's like a way for me to have like those deep conversations I cannot have if I don't put those books in the world. Is there something a bit like this for you, or you are happy to address a large audience?
Oh, I never thought about it like that, but maybe my fictional stories are so weird that no, they're not so weird, but they are, how would I say that? They're certainly not an expression of my deepest feelings or thoughts. The books with the curiosities, with the facts, uh, I want to share all the information I read or I see with as many children as possible. And as far as these books are concerned, and especially the books about animals, about climate, about environment, I do hope that children tell their parents what they read and convey a certain message. Yes,
I'm sure they are doing that.
I hope so. Yes, because there is, children often they read something in my book, and then the parents they tell me, oh, what he or she told me that blah blah blah, and then I recognize it from my book, and especially when it's about environment and climate, I think it's very important. We have to keep this world for our children, and but sometimes it's the adults that need to be informed about things.
What I hear in your answer is that actually it was like a kind of a strategic move to write those books because touching children, you were actually also addressing their parents, right?
Yes, maybe. Well, maybe not the first one. I wrote one, 321 choses incroyables à connaître avant d'avoir 13 ans. And that was rather general. But then I wrote a book about animals, which of course was a lot more about environment and climate and having respect for the natural world. And the third one was only about climate and environment. And that is my book that I see as a call to action. And yes, at that moment, it was a strategic move. Yes, it was. The girl who was doing the same thing here as Greta Thunberg was doing in Sweden was a good friend of my daughter's, and she was
You're talking about who? You're talking about Adelaide?
no, in Belgium.
Yeah, we had Adelaide. You had Adelaide Charlie in Belgium, but maybe you had someone else.
Yes, a Flemish girl, and she was a friend of my daughter's, and she was at our table. My husband is a journalist, and she started telling about these climate actions they were taking, and my husband wrote an article, so there were a lot more people at the big marches than they had expected. So, and then I was like, no, I have to write a book about this. I have to write 123 choses urgentes à connaître sur le climat.
Okay,
It's
123.
also translated in French.
123?
123. Why?
Things to know about climate, yeah.
Why 123? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, why? Because there is always like the 3, 2, 1 numbers in your titles.
But you can play with numbers.
Okay.
You can, just like with language, you can play with numbers. And it would be too heavy to have 321 facts solely on climate and environment. I can easily write those, but this book, and it was also written together with so Hans Bruinings, he was the director of the European Climate Agency at that time, and he has been a friend for a very long time, and we wrote this book together, and we both decided that 123 would be enough on such a heavy subject.
Okay, thank you. But coming back to your to the book who has been chosen by the Prix du Livre Environnement, 321 choses incroyables à connaître sur les animaux. Why did you write this book with what intention?
I have been reading a lot of books on nature and animals for a long time. And I discovered that I really liked the subject. In the first book, the general book, we had one chapter on animals. And that was absolutely my favorite subject, my favorite chapter to write. So my editor and me, we decided very soon that if we wanted to have a second book, it would have to be about animals because there's so much to tell.
It's infinite.
It's infinite. Yes, I could write another one with 321 new facts. Absolutely. Yes. So it was an easy choice.
And why animals?
Why animals?
Why animals? Why was it easy?
Why was it easy? Because they're so fascinating. They are even the smallest mosquito. Well, not maybe a mosquito, because they can be annoying. But spiders. I used to be scared of spiders until you know so much more about them. And now I carefully pick them up under a glass and with a piece of paper, and I put them outside in the garden because I realize what an incredibly wonder such a small spider actually is. Or large animals also, and also because of how clever they are, how incredibly intelligent the natural world is. So, and why animals? We are animals ourselves. So let's just compare ourselves to the others.
Yeah, I like this idea. Yeah. Thank you. The books you're writing right now are like illustrated encyclopedia. They are beautiful. Like really, you can take them and open a few pages and just have a look at the titles and the images. You can go deeper on the texts, and I have the feeling that you have encyclopedia which are usually a bit more, let's say, boring. Why did you choose this format? Why did you want to mix like images and fun facts and deeper information in one book, one big book, because actually it's a big book?
Yes, well, I find it a little bit funny that you call it an illustrated encyclopedia, because that's exactly what we wanted to avoid at all costs.
Oh, yeah?
Because no encyclopedia. No. This is a book of discoveries.
Okay.
Like there's also no index at the end. You just have to open the book and you see a title, and I hope the title is so intriguing that you want to know what's there, that you want to read it. They're not long pages. It's like half a page. The information, I hope, is a little bit funny to read. It's not too hard to read. And then the illustrations by Louize. I think the illustrations make every curiosity even better, because Louize, she can draw something which is completely correct, but then just make one little humorous thing in her drawings, and children find them fantastic. They say, I always have to laugh when I look at the illustrations.
Okay, so this is the main emotion you want the readers to feel as they go through the book, because I felt also that you had so much beauty in your book.
I want them to feel the beauty of everything that is surrounding us, and I want them to feel the awe. I was in awe when I read a lot of these things, and I want them to feel the same awe that I felt when I was writing this book. And I want them to be surprised by what they read. I want them to have a little laugh. And I also want them to have the urge to tell it to someone else, to their parents or to a friend.
Which one of the 321 facts in this book do you find most appealing, actually? I'm sure you had this question hundreds of times. I'm so sorry.
Another impossible question, Julien. I have to choose between 321 facts. Well, okay. I find it amazing that cockroaches can live a whole week without a head, for instance. That there are beetles who use chemical warfare. That penguins have knees. I mean, yeah. That a 9-banded armadillo always has 3 brothers or sisters. That a wombat has square excrements. Also very special.
I told you one fact, Mathilda. You're cheating. It's not.
I know I'm
proper
cheating,
answer.
but it's too hard. It's too hard.
I guess it's true. I'm sorry. So I called your book an encyclopedia, but for me it was a good, like a refreshing move, saying, okay, for me maybe like in 20, 30 years ago, encyclopedia were like really black and white and with a lot of dust, and now maybe like the children, they can consider that you have like books which are intense, huge, deep, with so many information, and at the same time funny, beautiful, and okay, I just wanted to tell you that if you took this word encyclopedia a bit badly, I said okay, I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to ask you.
Don't feel sorry.
I wanted to ask you because
quite charmed that you would call it an encyclopedia.
Maybe
not
a refreshed one, like a 2025 encyclopedia. I wanted to tell you, like, I have the feeling that the books, they are part of families. They are related to other books. Do you feel that it's the same for your books? Well, maybe all the 321 series. Do you feel like they have cousins, they have brothers, I don't know, sisters in other books that you have maybe in your bookshelf?
Well, yes. I don't know if you know the books written by Bill Bryson.
No, actually, I don't.
He's a British writer who writes about scientific topics, but with a great sense of humor. I have this thing that I take the train quite often, and then I read books. And if I read a Bill Bryson, I'm actually laughing out loud. He is so funny. And now I discovered other authors that write about animals and about nature in that way. For instance, the Lucy Cook, also a British biologist, who is extremely funny. The last book she wrote is called Bitch. What does it mean to be female? But it's about female animals and how Darwin was wrong, actually. And then because it's females that steer evolution. Anyway, read the book. But she's also very funny. And then you have Frans de Waal, who is a Dutch biologist, a primatologist, actually, who wrote some wonderful books on animals and animal behavior, also very funny. Or Peter Wohleben, who's German. Same. They're all books for adults, but they have it. Sometimes you think, oh no, I have to read something scientific, and that's going to be hard. But these people, they prove that you can be scientific, and it can be fun to read. Actually, laughing out loud, fun to read. So, and that's what I wanted to do for children. And yes, those are the books
congrats, because you succeeded in this wheel you had for your books. So good job, good job, Mathilda. Good job.
Thank
Now
you very
my
much. There are big footsteps to
of
follow.
course. My last questions are a bit tough, Mathilda, but I wanted to know, I feel like for me, well, books, they are windows. They open like different views, different ideas, and possibilities. And sometimes, of course, they open windows into the past, but I guess also sometimes they can open windows into possible futures. And I'm okay, like 100%, 200% of my time is like invested in the future. I'm sure that we can, as Rob Hopkins, maybe you know him, like explore possible joyful and playful futures, so that if we look them in the eyes, we can then change present with much more energy, much more strategy. And I wanted to know if you find in the book a projection that would help us see what the world will look like if your book were a huge bestseller. Imagine that you are the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What would that change in the world for children and their parents? And what would be the impacts?
That's indeed a tough question. I hope if this book were a real bestseller worldwide, I would hope it makes people more aware of the beauty and the astonishing richness of the world we live in right now. Because I sometimes feel that we are very, very far removed from nature. We don't see ourselves as a part of it anymore. If we see an insect, we want to kill it. Instead of being happy that wolves are coming back in certain places, we sign petitions against them. And once you know more about the natural world, if people know more about what's going on, I think knowledge would lead, hopefully, to action, and that they would take more care of all the things around them. Plant more flowers, plant more trees, give nature more room. I mean, what I find so important is that we are a very small part of nature, and nature can live without us, but we can't live without nature. And every little chain of the big link is very important, from the smallest plankton in the sea to the blue whale and everything that is in between. It's important. We need all these. Evolution is so special, and we need every little thing in the chain. And that's if my book were a bestseller, I hope more people would realize how fragile also everything is, and how much better care we should take.
Mathilda, every time I interview people as inspiring as you are, I ask them to come with a little gift, and you have to read us something now that you find inspiring.
It's from my book, and I will read it in French. Excuse me for any mistake. I'll do my best. Okay? Okay. Alors, le gorille mâle fredonne pendant son repas. Lorsqu'un gorille mâle mange, il se met à fredonner un pom-pom-pom qui résonne dans toute la jungle. Des chercheurs allemands qui ont étudié un groupe de gorilles des plaines du Congo pensent qu'ils expriment ainsi leur plaisir à consommer de la bonne nourriture, mais qu'ils annoncent également l'heure du déjeuner au reste du groupe. Les femelles et les petites ne font pas de bruit en mastiquant. probablement pour ne pas attirer l'attention des chasseurs. En tout cas, les gorilles composent de véritables petites mélodies de table durant leur repas, de vrais musiciens. Dans les zoos aussi, ils fredonnent. Et comme chacun a sa voix bien à lui, les gardiens les reconnaissent de loin. Sans compter que plus les mets sont savoureux, plus ils chantent fort. Chez les gorilles sauvages, ce sont surtout les mâles dominantes qui poussent la chansonnette. Cela veut probablement dire quelque chose comme « Hé, les gars, c'est l'heure du repas et on va pas bouger pendant un bon moment. Bon appétit !»
Merci Mathilda, thank you for this part of your book. I have one last question. Actually, I'm so sad that we are already finishing this interview. But what is next for you? Have you already chosen the next subject you wanted to explore in your 321 ta 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 ta?
Yes. Well, Louise and I are finishing a new book in the series now on art.
Okay.
That was a great subject to write about because I discovered so many new things. Next to that, I'm working on a book with little facts for first readers, also on nature, on animals. And I'm also trying to write some new fiction. Animals play a big part in that fiction book. So. And then I have been asked to write the canon. I don't know if that's the correct word in English, but I think so. The canon of Flanders for children, which is a great honor. So I'm not quite finished writing yet. I still want to write a lot more.
Thank you so much, Mathilda, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julien, for the interview.
Merci d'avoir écouté cet épisode jusqu'au bout. Pour soutenir Radio Recyclerie, vous pouvez partager cet épisode autour de vous, l'évaluer positivement et vous abonner au podcast. Radio Recyclerie met en onde les foisonnantes discussions enregistrées à la Recyclerie, un tiers-lieu engagé situé porte de Clignancourt à Paris. Venez-y pour prolonger les conversations et faire vibrer les écologies.